and they've just looked forward to dressing up in their costumes, having fun with their friends, and just seeing all the decorations here at the zoo.
We should mention the ofrenda, which is offered here at the LA Zoo, and we're happy to state that it's the only ofrenda dedicated to our beloved pets.
The kids, the pandemic has been really hard on them, and it's nice to do something normal and just to feel like it's Halloween again. You know, the last few years have been hard.
It's a great opportunity for everyone to just be normal again, you know,
Right.
and have a good time, and it's great. I'm already in awe of just the whole decor and the people. Everyone's just having a good time, and I'd encourage everyone to come.
There's so much action going on, so much fun, and the kids are really excited, and it's just really nice to see the smile on kids' faces. But at the same time, it's a good learning experience. We want people to learn about animals, just be able to connect with nature by visiting all of our exhibits, being able to visit our education stations. We definitely just want to convey to everyone in Los Angeles that this is your zoo. We are very inclusive, and we want to invite everyone of every community to come join us in the fun. This zoo is for you.
Happy Halloween!
MacArthur Park was recently brimming with the sounds of lush rhythms and dancing couples thanks to the Latin Jazz Festival. The Latin community and music lovers of all types came together to enjoy live performances over a beautiful fall weekend. Check it out.
The Latin Jazz Festival, from what I know, has been going on for many years, and it was at Sycamore Park before, but we actually brought it over to MacArthur Park this year. We are in the process of finishing up the beautification, so we're excited to have it here and show everyone all the work that's been happening.
I took a walk around the whole park before I got into here, and they did a remarkable job. It looks really, really nice. When I heard that they were doing the concert here, I was a little skeptical. That's why I did the tour around the block, and I was very impressed what the city's done to this park. And I think with the kids' playground, which really blew me away, which was really nice, I'm really glad that the city is doing that to some of the parks for the community especially.
Just to keep the beat and to dance with it, you know. When I'm not dancing, I'm using these. I'm keeping with the beat.
It's a culture thing. It's you know, a Latino thing. It's you know, the roots, where we all came from. Not just Mexicanos. I mean, you're talking about South Americans. They're Latinos from Cuba, Puerto Rico, South America, Los Angeles. All my musicians, we all know each other, playing in Southern California. And it's really nice to get together and do this for the community. It's a blessing.
The audience that was coming out has been increasing every single year, so people are enjoying this. They enjoy the intercultural exchange, because you see people of all sizes and shapes and cultures and different races all dancing together and just enjoying each other. And that's the whole point of cultural exchange here in Los Angeles, because there's so many different types of cultures here.
San Pedro became a little bit more Italian, with family, friends, and neighbors gathering for Festa Italiana 2022. Councilmember Joe Buscaino shared the excitement of celebrating its 11th edition and having Italian Americans and Italian culture lovers come together to enjoy delicious food, lively music, and traditional dances.
The city of Los Angeles is a global city. We pride ourselves of being home to over 200 countries. And here in San Pedro, the largest Italian-American community in all of Los Angeles, we're here celebrating Festa Italiana, our 11th straight year. And this is an opportunity for all Italian-Americans and non-Italians to come and enjoy family, great food, and great entertainment.
San Pedro is one of the largest Italian communities on the West Coast. San Pedro was derived from a fishing town of Italians that came here and migrated to the same climate as there was in Italy and to make a better life.
The Italians, they bring always happiness, no matter where you go. They talk loud and they are very warm-hearted. So that's why when you have the festivity in Italian, you always go. We are here to enjoy the food, the music, all the harmony that it's around. That's what is the difference.
I was 3 years old when I came, and my dad was a fisherman, her father was a fisherman. This was a fisherman industry here in San Pedro. And we just want to, with our kids and our grandkids, we want to keep the tradition going.
In our featured story this week, our own Ann Police sits down with Erica Blyther, Petroleum Administrator for the City of LA. Erica discusses the evolution of Los Angeles being one of the largest oil producers in the world and how we're now going green. Let's hear the story and find out about the challenges and initiatives currently underway.
Once one of the world's largest oil producers, Los Angeles would like to become a leader in going green, and they are headed that direction. This is in part thanks to an effort to cap oil drilling within the city of Los Angeles. Joining us today is Erica Blyther. She is Petroleum Administrator. So let's start with the big question. What's a Petroleum Administrator? What does that mean?
So historically, as you mentioned, one of the major population booms was when oil began in the 1800s, 1900s. So in 1892, Edward Doheny drilled one of the first oil wells in what's now Echo Park. As the city became more developed, they realized they needed to have someone to look at oil and gas leases. So in the 1950s and 1960s, the Petroleum Administrator position was created, and the focus was just on oil drilling. Over time, there was less drilling and production, and so the duties kind of faded away. But with the Aliso Canyon disaster, as well as a lot of concerns about fracking, there was a realization that there needed to be a renewed focus on petroleum, as well as natural gas, and safety. And so our goal is really to be in charge of oil information, so it focuses on the drill sites, the pipelines, as well as refineries.
It's a lot. How many active oil sites are there right now in Los Angeles?
So there are currently 15 active drill sites. There's no place where people live closer to oil than in Los Angeles. Here, people literally are living right on top of the oil fields. They're in their backyards, front yards, right next door. A lot of them are in Council District 15, a number also in Council District 5. And the drill sites just are where the oil happened to be naturally deposited. So there are a lot of concerns about the air quality impacts from oil drilling. So when you drill for oil, you get natural gas too. So a lot of times oil and gas go together. But that natural gas, if it leaks, that causes a lot of environmental concerns. So methane is a much more potent greenhouse gas even than carbon dioxide. Some speculate as much as 84 times as powerful. It is a reactive gas that can destroy the ozone layer and just really heat up the planet. So it can really cause a lot of health, not only health effects in the short term, but in the long term in terms of climate change.
LA is trying to lead the charge in going green, not just in Los Angeles, but the entire state of California. What are your thoughts when you hear things like that?
We're really on the leading edge for, I think, going green. I think the city of Los Angeles, California in general,
yes,
but definitely the city of Los Angeles is doing a lot of things. So we have the Green New Deal, we have what's called the Sustainable City Plan, but all of these are looking at ways to be greener. I know the mayor works a lot with C40, which is a group of 40 cities that were really leading the way towards being green, looking at ways of helping the planet. And so that whole coalition has been looking at ways, but really LA is really taking the lead in a lot of its initiatives and things that are occurring.
Learn about the beauty of Afghan culture through dance. Attend the annual baseball reliquary Shrine of the Eternals, or observe the total lunar eclipse through Griffith Observatory's virtual broadcast. All this up next on Things to Do.
Expressing culture and tradition through dance is an ancient way of bringing communities together. In Dance, a window to the beauty of Afghan culture, Angelenos will have the chance to experience the authenticity and uniqueness of Afghan dance styles. With the help of Samia Karimi, a dancer and choreographer, dance aficionados will learn about her experience of immigration, how she connected with her Afghan heritage through dance, and enjoy a showcase of different Afghan dance styles. Everyone is welcome to attend this free event that will take place at the Woodland Hills Branch Library on Saturday, November 5th at 3 p.m. For more information and details, visit lapl.org/events. Attention baseball superfans! The Los Angeles Central Library will be holding the Baseball Reliquary Shrine of the Eternals annual event. This awards and induction ceremony, known as the People's Hall of Fame, will have a special memorial tribute for the Reliquary founder, Terry Cannon. It will also feature notable enshrinees like Bob Costas, Andrew Rube Foster, and the Clown Prince of Baseball, Max Patkin. Adults are welcome to attend this free ceremony that will also offer a reception with music and refreshments afterwards. This event will take place at the Mark Taper Auditorium at the Central Library on Saturday, November 5th at 2 p.m. For more details about this event, visit lapl.org/events. Have you ever wondered what a total lunar eclipse looks like up close? A lunar eclipse, which occurs when the moon passes directly into the dark inner shadow cast by the Earth, will happen on Tuesday, November 8th. It will be visible from anywhere in Southern California. The Griffith Observatory will be hosting a live online broadcast from the start of the eclipse at around midnight until its completion at around 6 a.m. Even though telescopes or binoculars can make the experience more worthwhile, experts indicate that it will be visible to the unaided eye. The live online broadcast will be taking place via the website griffithobservatory.org/event on Tuesday, November 8th from 12 a.m. until 6 a.m. Please note that the park will be closed during the eclipse, so make sure to catch it online or in your backyard. And that's a look at some things to do.
And that's it for this edition. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacitywiew.org, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Los Angeles City Council on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. I'm Paul Krikorian, President of the City Council, and we're especially proud to welcome today Holocaust survivors who are here among us today to talk about some very important issues relating to anti-Semitism. We want to welcome you. So, this City Council cannot proceed because people are standing in the center aisle, yelling and using noisemakers in order to distract this council from its business. This disruption violates Council Rule 12, and so Mr. Khan, I ask you to sit down, please, and stop using your bullhorn. That is your first warning. Everyone who's standing in the aisle, I'm instructing you to quietly take your seat and stop disrupting this meeting. Please take a seat so that we can begin today's meeting. Mr. Hamid Khan, this is your second warning. Stop using a bullhorn and take your seat immediately. The City Council meeting cannot proceed because Mr. Khan, Mr. Pete White, and others are standing in the aisle making noise, including using noisemakers, so that this council cannot proceed. I'm instructing you to take your seat and cease the noise. This disruption violates Council Rule number 12, and I instruct you to stop it immediately. This is the third and final warning that I'm going to give to you. Mr. Khan, stop using a bullhorn in this council chambers immediately. This is the third and final warning. The City Council meeting cannot proceed because people are continuing to disrupt it by standing in the center aisle and yelling and using noisemakers. This is creating an actual disruption and violates Council Rule 12. If the disruption does not stop immediately, I will order those causing the disruption to be subject to Council Rule 7 and expelled from this meeting, and I may order that the room be cleared under California Government Code Section 54957.9. Sergeants, Mr. Khan is excluded from this meeting. Please escort him to the door. Sergeants, everyone who's now standing in the aisle is excluded from this meeting. Please escort them to the door. Members, as this disruption continues, the council is going to take a brief recess so that the sergeants can exclude the disruptors from the council. All right, the City Council is now back in session. Thank you, members, and good morning again, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. I'm Paul Krikorian, President of the Council, and we're ready to begin today's work. As permitted under Assembly Bill 361, public comment will be taken today by teleconference as well as in person. So, Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, absent. De Leon, absent. Harris Dawson, Hutt, Koretz, Krikorian, Lee, absent. O'Farrell, Price, Rahman, Rodriguez. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes of October 28, 2022.
Councilmember Koretz moves. Councilmember Rodriguez seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Councilmember Buscaino moves. Councilmember Price seconds. Next.
Mr. President, today is Tuesday. It's time for the flag salute.
Very good. If everyone could please rise, and Councilmember Blumenfield, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure, I would be honored. If you could rise, place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, let's run through the agenda, please.
Mr. President, there are requests to continue item 39 to November 8, 2022, and to hold item 12 on the desk.
That will be the order. Next.
Items 1 through 10 are items noticed for public hearing. Items 11 through 22 are items which public hearings have been held. Items 23 through 39 are items which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Without objection, those items are now before us. Members, does anyone have any item that you would like to call special? Mr. Koretz.
Yes, I'd like to call item 38 special for comments, and I'd like to call item 31 special for comments and an amendment.
Can you go ahead and read the amendment, please?
Yes. This relates to moving clauses, and it would read, focused but not limited to oversight and monitoring of land use, development, and construction processes and approvals in the City of Los Angeles. And I'd also like to ask that the motion be referred back to the newly created Government Reform Committee.
Thank you very much. Any other specials, members? All right, seeing no other specials, Madam Clerk, do we have any cards?
Yes, Mr. President, there are cards on item 28 and 38. And Mr. President, items that are available for council to vote on are items 11, 13 through 22, sir.
Very good. Those items are now before us for a vote. So, Madam Clerk, if you could please open the roll on those items. Close the roll. Tabulate the votes.
11 ayes.
Mr. President, shall I read the instructions for call-in now?
Yes, but before you do, ordinances for items 1 through 10 will be held over for 1 week to November 8th, 2022, unless reconsidered, with 12 members present.
Thank you, sir. As indicated on the agenda, members of the public wishing to offer public comment should call area code 669-254-5252 and use meeting ID number 160-535-8466 and then press pound. Then press pound again when prompted for participant ID. Once submitted into the meeting, press *9 to request to speak. When it is your turn to speak, an automated Zoom voice will ask you to press *6 to unmute. Let me repeat, call 669-254-5252 and use meeting ID number 535-8466 and then press pound. Press pound again when prompted for participant ID. Once admitted to the meeting, press star 9 to request to speak. When it is your turn to speak, an automated Zoom voice will ask you to press star 6 to unmute.
Thank you. And Mr. City Attorney, would you please explain the speaking rules to members of the public who will be calling in to speak, as well as those who are here present?
Thank you, Mr. President. To the members of the public calling in, when it is your turn to speak, please state which of the agenda items you would like to speak on. You will have 1 minute per item to speak, up to 3 minutes total, and 1 minute for general public comment if you wish. Speak to the agenda items before beginning general public comment. We will tell you when your time is up. When speaking on the agenda items, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you're not speaking on topic, or if we cannot tell whether you're speaking on topic, you will get one brief warning from either me or the council president. If you do not immediately get clearly on topic, or again, if you stray off topic, the president will cut you off and you will forfeit the rest of your speaking time, and we will move on to the next speaker. The items open for public comment are 1 through 10 and 23 through 38. For members of the public calling in to speak, we have a slightly new procedure. When it is your turn to speak, an automated message from Zoom will prompt you to press star 6 to unmute yourself. If you do not do so, council staff will prompt you once more. If you do not immediately unmute yourself when prompted by staff, you will forfeit your time and will move on to the next speaker. Finally, if you are listening to the council meeting on your computer, channel 35, or another device, please turn down the volume on those devices immediately when it is your turn to speak. Because of feedback and time delay between the live meeting and the broadcast, it will cause a lot of confusion if you continue to listen on your other devices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to start with our speakers who are here in chambers. Oops. And I'd like to first invite West Hollywood Councilmember Lindsay Horvath to come forward to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Thank you for your committed service and dedication to the city of Los Angeles. My name is Lindsay Horvath.
Sorry, which items would you like to speak on?
I'm speaking as a general public comment and also item 38. If you'd like, would you like me to do 38 now as well?
Please. So
Okay.
You'll have 1 minute on the item and 1 minute for general public comment.
Thank you very much. Lindsay Horvath, West Hollywood City Council member, an honor to be here with you. First, for those who know or those who are wondering, with 7 days to go to the election, it is my sincere intent to serve as your next LA County Supervisor, and I'm here today to listen to the discussion that you're having in this very difficult time in the city and county of Los Angeles, to offer partnership and collaboration, making sure that the county works hand in glove with the city of Los Angeles to ensure that the services and support that all of our community members are due are delivered in the ways that we intend, making sure that we're bridging gaps in service and meeting people where they are in their neighborhoods is of utmost importance to me, and making sure that I'm offering that service to each of you is important. I also want to speak on item 38. We just recently passed a resolution in support, a similar resolution in West Hollywood, which I authored. This definition does not change the law, but it does give us a framework in our discussion, especially at a time where anti-Semitism is on the rise. We need to make sure that we are clearly calling it out and providing a framework for discussion so people understand what the tenets of anti-Semitism are. This definition is defined by by people who are impacted by anti-Semitism, and I think that's also important, people with lived experience as Jewish community members, as Israeli, as American community members. Defining what is anti-Semitism in our community is important. Making sure that we have informed discussion and bring people into conversation, not silence them, is the intent of this item and the intent of this definition. I think that we need to have more conversations, not fewer, especially in light of recent incidents. And I thank Council Members Koretz and Blumenfeld for bringing this item forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Alex Horner, followed by Chelsea Gosnell.
As a reminder, speakers, please identify which items that you would like to speak on, and then start with those items.
Good morning, I'm Alex Horner. I live in District 10 in Councilmember Hutt's district. I'm here to continue the demand for Kevin DeLeon's resignation, and also to say, I understand there's only so much that you can do and your hands are tied in many ways, but look at the visionary community leaders here in Los Angeles. Look at the way that they are visioning what could be for our city, what could be for our solidarity, what could be for our unity. And be creative, be inventive, stand with them. There are so many things that you could do to stand with us in this awful moment. You all stood together 10-0 to vote for Krikorian as president. You can stand together in this moment to do the right thing. And that you're not, that you are continuing business as usual is shameful. If nothing else, come stand with us outside. Come stand with the leaders. Meet with them. They gave you a list of demands that they all sat together to agree on. What one of them have you compromised on? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Chelsea Gosnell, followed by Debbie Graboff.
Good morning. I'm speaking on Measure 38 as well as just general comments. My name is Chelsea Gosnell, and I'm a proud Ashkenazi Jew living in West Adams, Los Angeles. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews. This is the beginning phrase of the IHRA definition of what anti-Semitism is. It starts with perception. We know perception to be a powerful thing. Even on a small scale, even in everyday life, those that climb the corporate ladder are often perceived to be the hardest working, although those in corporate life know that not always to be true. Those in politics we vote for, we perceive to be capable of the job, although often it's a well-crafted campaign or slogan that's actually convinced us. Perception is powerful. And at this moment, many are believing an even bigger, more successful campaign, a campaign that has most believing Jews deserve this hate. Anti-Semitism is the oldest form of hatred, one that claims that because we, the Jewish people, survived over and over, that the age-old libels about us must be true. That because the Jews succeeded in liberating our ancient homeland, we, the Jews, must be a great evil. I'll paraphrase Shoah survivor.
Go on to general public comment for another minute.
I'll paraphrase Shoah survivor Toa Friedman. The Holocaust was a plan made by the best brains, those who listened to the best music and attended the best university. Jewish hate is the foundation to white supremacy, which is often the obvious danger, but one could argue it was the well-crafted story, the campaign, the perception that killed and murdered 6 million. Even the best of us can believe perception over truth. We know that perception oftentimes is more important than truth. And while there are moments where perception and truth do match, we know that when they don't, it often leads to deadly consequences. While adopting this definition may seem like a small act, it's a small act over time that changed perception. I urge you to adopt the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism because perception cannot determine the future of my people. Truth must. Thank you for the councilmen for bringing this forward, and thank you to the council people for your time.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Debbie Graboff, who will be followed by our city attorney, Mike Fuhr.
Good morning, and thank you for hearing us today. I'm Deborah Graboff from the Jewish Federation, and I am reading support for the LA Council resolution against anti-Semitism. Los Angeles organizations, and allies strongly support the LA City Council resolution adopting the IHRA working definition of anti-Semitism. As our community confronts rising hatred locally on social media and beyond, this resolution is an important step in the right direction. Although less than 2% of the U.S. population is Jewish, the FBI reports that nearly 60% of religiously motivated hate crimes have been directed against Jews. The ADL and California Attorney General's Office have also reported increases in anti-Semitic crimes and incidents. And American Jewish Committee's 2021 report on the state of anti-Semitism in America
Please add one more minute for general public comment.
reveals a growing unease about rising anti-Semitism among Americans of all backgrounds. Recent events in our city also add to the urgency of addressing this problem. A crucial first step in fighting anti-Semitism is defining it in a way that reflects the lived experience of Jewish people. That is the purpose of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance working definition. This widely accepted definition has support from the federal government, local governments, and 30 other countries, as well as 850 institutions worldwide, the Conference of Presidents of American Jewish Organizations, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and 60-plus other Los Angeles area organizations and rabbis signed below. We thank all the council members for your time today.
Thank you very much. And before we bring up our next speaker, I'd like to invite our Los Angeles City Attorney, Mike Feuer, to come to the desk and offer comments as well.
Thank
Good morning.
you very much, Mr. President, members of the council. I remember when I was directing Beth Tzedek Legal Services, it was maybe 30 years ago, and stood up for Holocaust survivors with stencils in their arms from the camps, trying just to get them restitution from Germany and Austria for what they had endured. And when I was doing that, I was thinking a lot about the history of the Holocaust, about what had happened in the past tense. And then, not many years ago, they marched in Charlottesville and said, Jews will not replace us. And the then president said there were good people on both sides. At a restaurant in West Los Angeles, Jews were attacked only because they were Jews. In fact, the attackers began their attack by asking, who here is a Jew? And some media reported, well, this is just the consequence of some contention in the Middle East. Celebrities now attempt to normalize anti-Semitism through explicitly condoning or advocating it, or more promoting it or enabling it. The reason I'm here is because the words matter a lot. The fact of the adoption of this definition, which I urge the council to do today, is an ingredient, a step. But it also comes at a time when it's particularly important for us to take a stand, every possible stand, when it comes to condemning anti-Semitism, calling it out, making clear where we stand. And so I just want to conclude, Mr. President, by saying that in a society which we know is pervaded with overheated rhetoric that divides us from each other, where people are explicitly adopting approaches designed to divide us from each other, this is one of those opportunities for a council that has always stood for the best of who we are, for unifying us as a community. This is an opportunity to take this step today to say we stand with those in the Jewish community who unfortunately are grappling with record levels of anti-Semitism at a time when our nation so desperately needs us to stand up for each other. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. City Attorney, in deference to your schedule, I know you also wanted to offer comments on item number 12. If you'd like to do that now, that'd be fine.
Oh, thank you very much. And I do want to say, by the way, for members of the public who may be cognizant of what we're doing, that my office, the City Attorney's Office, will prosecute incidents of hate crime, including anti-Semitic hate crime, and we urge people to come forward, even if the matter may only be a hate incident and not a hate crime in itself, because it gives us the opportunity to better advocate and investigate and work with law enforcement to be sure that no one is victimized that way. Now, Mr. President, rather abruptly, if I might turn to the other matter that is on today's agenda, I very much appreciate the opportunity. The matter on which I'm speaking now has to do with an issue that I know every member of this council has very strong views about, and that is assuring that women who are confronting often the most difficult choice they'll ever make regarding their own reproductive choices are protected from misrepresentations. Last week, a number of you were here to, on first reading, vote for a law that we've proposed from our office to protect women who are contending with potential misrepresentations from so-called crisis pregnancy centers. We know why this issue is so consequential right now, because across the nation, we're all aware of how women's reproductive choices, healthcare, and liberty are on the line. But that national activity in state after state where they are curtailing or completely banning abortion is having a consequence here in California. Even before the Dobbs decision, a UCLA study anticipated thousands of women, if Roe were to be overturned, are going to come to Los Angeles who are going to seek to exercise their full range of reproductive choices. And when they come here, they have to get accurate information so they can make the choice that they want to make for themselves. Now, some so-called crisis pregnancy centers attempt to deter women from terminating their pregnancies, and they may misrepresent the full range of reproductive services that they offer by saying they offer abortion services or referrals, the kinds of full pregnancy-related services that might incline a woman to come to that center, and then when they get there, there are efforts made in many cases to dissuade them from taking action that they otherwise were intended to take. And here's the thing. We all know that women confronting this most sensitive, difficult, personal question, they have not a second to lose. Every moment counts because it has an effect on the choices that they can, in fact, make. So the law that I'm urging that today this council adopt as a final matter, the law would say that a pregnancy center cannot make an advertising statement that would lead a woman to believe that the center provides abortion care, emergency contraception, or other pregnancy-related services, when in fact they do not. And the thing about this law is it gives my office the ability to enforce with penalties of up to $10,000 per violation. And it also allows a consumer, a woman who alleges that she has been misled, to bring a private right of action, to bring a private action with the ability to secure damages. I hope that this law never has to be used, because I hope that when the council passes and the mayor signs this ordinance, that any pregnancy center, every pregnancy center, is going to provide only accurate information, will never misrepresent the scope of services that they provide, so that no woman is victimized and needs to vindicate her rights, whether through us or on her own. And as with the prior matter, Mr. President, I'll conclude with this, that any woman who thinks that she has been misled by such a center, please let our office know so we can take appropriate action. Mr. President, council members, I really appreciate the deference today. I look forward to the council adopting this very important ordinance, which has an urgency clause in it for a reason, because time is of the essence for every woman confronting these most difficult decisions in this nationally fraught moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fuhrer. Returning to our public commenters, I'd like to call next Dr. Jeff Warner, followed by Dulce Vasquez.
Speakers, again, a friendly reminder to please let us know which items you would like to comment on. You have 1 minute per item, plus, if you wish, you may have 1 minute of general public comment time.
I will give a general comment, and then I will talk on number 38. I think the council did good last week when it unanimously passed the resolution condemning the recent acts of anti-Semitism in Los Angeles. My name is Jeff Warner, Dr. Jeff Warner. My Hebrew name is Yaakov. I was bar mitzvahed in 1952. My doctor title stems from my 1967 Harvard PhD. I live in District 10. I am the action coordinator for LA Jews for Peace, a small discussion action group in Los Angeles of progressive Jews and others. My mother was born in Tiberias, which was now part of Israel. She immigrated to this country with her mother and sisters after her father was lost in World War I. My father is an American whose parents were 19th century immigrants from Hungary. He lost many cousins in the Holocaust. Now for number 38. The council is absolutely right that it must fight anti-Semitism. The trouble is, there's a problem with the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. It is neither clear nor coherent. Whatever the intentions of its proponents, it blurs the distinction between anti-Semitic speech and legitimate criticism of Israel and Zionism. This causes confusion while delegitimizing the voices of Palestinians and others, including Jews like me, who criticize Israel and Zionism. None of this helps to combat anti-Semitism. I want to give the council this document which explains that in further detail.
Okay, the sergeant will take
I submit, luckily there's another alternative to the IHRA definition, and that is the Jerusalem Declaration of Anti-Semitism. This was written in 2020 after 4 years of experience of the IHRA. It was written by Jewish scholars and signed by 350 scholars from the US, Israel, Canada, UK, UN.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Your time has expired.
The Jerusalem Declaration does
sir,
one
your
thing
time
the
has expired.
IHRA
I need to ask you to take your seat now.
explains
Our next speaker is Dulce Vasquez. Our next speaker is Dulce Vasquez, followed by Aaron Alcabez.
1 minute for item 38 and 1 minute for public comment, please.
Please start with item number 38.
Good morning. My name is Dulce Vasquez, and I am here in support of the resolution adopting the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. As you know, I ran for city council this year. In addition to the xenophobic, nativist, and racist comments I had to endure as a candidate, me, a Catholic-raised Latina, also experienced anti-Semitism. I had Adolf Hitler sign up for my newsletter. I was also accused that along with my, and I quote, white Jewish husband, of ethnically cleansing South Los Angeles. My spouse, the grandson of 2 Holocaust victims that were sent to separate concentration camps and survived to find each other across Europe in an unlikely scenario that now puts me in front of you, asking for your support. Not because I experience an ounce of digital anti-Semitism, but because those words lead to actions. Actions that we have seen on display just last week the nauseating demonstration over the 405, actions like the vandalism of schools and billboards, actions like the flyers distributed in Beverly Hills and Brentwood just last week, pushing centuries-old tropes and conspiracy theories that Jews run the media and the country. Words that in the 1930s led to the actual ethnic cleansing of 6 million Jews. That's 150% of the current population of Los Angeles. But it should not be up to the Jewish community to stand alone. So I am here, and I urge you to make sure that our city has a framework that responds to hate speech, hate crimes, and discrimination. Please vote yes. I yield my time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Aaron Alcabez, followed by Ian Jamieson. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm here to speak general comment and item 38.
Please start with item number 38.
My name is Erin Alcabez, and I address the City Council today as a concerned citizen of this city. Last year, in January of 2021, in Los Angeles, the school that my 2- and 4-year-old children attended was defaced with a swastika, the same hateful symbol that contributed to the systematic persecution of many of their family members just over 70 years ago. A few months prior to that, the park where my children play was also defaced with a swastika, this time painted with actual human blood. I have faced anti-Semitism many times in my life, from a college professor telling me that my Jewish family was just like the Nazis in front of a lecture hall of over 400 other students, to even being pushed by a stranger into a busy street with oncoming traffic while being called a dirty Jew pig. But nothing was more painful than when I had to find the words to explain to my children that some people in this world will just hate them for who they are. Los Angeles, one of the biggest and best cities in the world, has quickly become a very scary place to be a Jew. We question if our preschool should keep a Jewish star on the children's shirt for fear that they wear it out in public and get attacked. In this modern time, no one should feel scared to walk down the street for fear of attack because of who they are. That is why I'm here today to urge the LA City Council to vote to adopt the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance working definition of anti-Semitism. If we can define it, we can work towards defeating it. Please take action to better protect my family and people across this great city. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ian Jamieson, followed by Dory Frank.
Item 38 and general public comment, please.
Okay, you have 1 minute on each.
I apologize, I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, 1 minute on the item and 1 minute for general public
Right,
comment.
yeah. On item 38, I support the resolution. In Claude Lanzmann's 1985 award-winning documentary Shoah, he interviews Auschwitz survivor Philippe Boulera, who tells of how as a Sonderkommandant, one day he attempted to kill himself by voluntarily walking into a gas chamber, and the women who were about to be murdered in the gas chamber told him that was stupid and that they needed him to survive and tell of their suffering and witness the atrocities that were done to them. And it is stories like that, that need to be told over and over again of the coming centuries and millennia. And this resolution is a tiny part of working towards that end. To general public comment, you guys all know why I'm here. On October 25th, the New York Supreme Court ruled New York City's employee vaccine mandate illegal and ordered all employees terminated under it rehired. Additionally, in 7 days, the American electorate will vote the anti-mandate GOP majority in both chambers of Congress and very possibly the governorship of New York. This is over. You fascists fucked up. You destroyed people's lives, and you will be held accountable. So just end it now. End the vaccine mandate, rehire terminated LA City employees, end the state of emergency, resign, every last one of you, never run for public office again, and preferably never show your faces in public again. Thanks a bunch.
Our next speaker is Dory Frank, followed by Matthew Noriel.
1 minute comment on 38 on the resolution and one general comment.
Very good. You'll have 1 minute on each.
My name is Dory Frake, and I've actually experienced anti-Semitism. Martha Ball Elementary School in 1968, we're wearing a kippah. My principal called me in and told me because I wore a kippah, I should not go through the regular graduation. And the rabbi that I was dealing with said, there's nothing you can do. I've experienced anti-Semitism and being hired during the 3 years of first President Bush's administration. So I understand what anti-Semitism is. I experience every day when I live in Council District 5. And I believe just nodding and listening to us isn't enough. It's action. My friend Paul Koretz and I went to the same high school. I was more politically active than he was. But we've worked together on this problem. Now I'd like to go to general comments. When you don't publicly condemn anti-Semitism, when you don't condemn the demonstrations in 2020 in my district, when Jewish businesses, synagogue defaced, then 2 black councilmen must step down, Councilman Price and Harris Dawson. When you don't condemn it out loud, especially Assemblyman Katz, you are implicitly accepting anti-Semitism. So if you're going to condemn Sadie on that, you too should step down. You have yet to condemn what happened in 2020 when thousands and thousands of dollars property in my district were destroyed. You don't condemn it. And Dr. King said, when you don't condemn it, you implicitly accept it. And Black Lives Matter purposely came to our district, not Leimert Park, because we're asleep on the Sabbath. So I'm asking you two to step down, because you're just as bigoted as the people you condemned by not actively talking about it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Matthew Noriel, followed by Max Samarov.
Hi. I'm here to speak on item 38 and general comment. My name is Matthew Nuriel. I'm a nonprofit professional who works for the organization Jimeno, which works to achieve recognition for the history and heritage of Jews from the Middle East and North Africa, where almost 1 million fled anti-Semitic persecution and ethnic cleansing during the 20th century. As a person with an intersectional identity, I'm proud to live in LA because of the city's diversity, progressive values, and because of the safety it affords me as a queer person. However, that safety should not come at the expense of my safety as a Jewish person. It is imperative that LA ensures that it is a safe space for all of its residents, and adopting the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism will extend not only safety to our Jewish residents, but also ensure that it is a welcoming city for us. The IHRA definition has been created by Jews and is accepted by the overwhelming majority of us. It is of the utmost importance to remember that anti-Semitism, just like any other form of bigotry, should be defined by those who experience it. If you oppose Jews defining the hatred we ourselves experience, you are in essence endorsing that very hatred. My family came here from Iran. Like so many Iranian Jews, they came to the United States as refugees after the 1979 revolution, many leaving behind everything they had just so they could live freely and safely in their Jewish identity. Not passing this resolution would send the signal to families like mine that after 40 years of rebuilding their lives here, they are no longer safe or welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Max Samarov, followed by Meher Hagopian.
Hello, my name is Max Samarov. I'm Executive Director of Research and Strategy at Stand With Us, an LA-based international nonprofit education organization that educates the public about Israel and fights anti-Semitism. Here to speak about general comment and item 38. I'm basically just going to debunk some arguments you've already heard today, probably some arguments you will hear today against adopting the IHRA definition. So first, what is this about and what is it not? This is about simply recognizing the experiences that Jewish people in Los Angeles and around the world go through every day, facing anti-Semitism across the political spectrum in many different forms and often in ways that the average person will not recognize. This is about you all making the LA city government more educated, more able to fight against this hatred. Nothing about the IHRA definition silences free speech. Nothing about the IHRA definition can stop anyone from saying anything that they would like. After you all pass this resolution, the same folks who want to call for the destruction of Israel, who want to call for the exclusion of Zionists from social justice movements, who want to say that Kanye was right about the Jews and say any number of anti-Semitic things, will continue to be able to say that. The difference is that you will be using your free speech rights to push back against that, to educate with a different message, with better ideas, to help your employees and the city of Los Angeles understand when that line is crossed into anti-Semitism. So no one's free speech is going to be violated. You're simply going to do your part to recognize what Jews are going through and do your part to fight back against that. I urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Meher Hagopian, followed by Nili Amit.
Hi, I'm here for item 38 and general comment. My name is Meher Hagopian. I'm Armenian born in Lebanon. On May 18, 2021, me and my friends, we were having a dinner. Then we saw a caravan approach us and asked who's Jewish. And my friend said, we are Jewish. And they attacked us. And myself and my friend, I was protecting them, and I ended up in the hospital. I want you to vote yes and make peace for everyone. You can help us. Everybody love each other and no hate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Our next speaker is Nili Amit, followed by Rick Chertoff.
Hello, my name is Nili Alan Amit. I'm the Associate Director of the Holocaust Education Center at Stand With Us. I am a resident of LA. I'm the mother of 3 children who are going to junior and high schools in LAUSD. Our mission at the Holocaust Education Center is to teach about the Holocaust. The Holocaust should be taught to everyone. Everyone should know what happened in very recent history. Holocaust denial is one of the main ills of society. People should know where hatred leads. People should know what a scapegoat is, what blind leadership is, what blind following of a leader is, and people should know how to stop it. In our center, we educate about upstanding against a hate, and we educate about righteous among the nations and people who stood against the Nazis, and we have the mission of never again. That's why I ask you, Council, to adopt this very important resolution. Adopting the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance working definitions of anti-Semitism will help us better educate and better get to schools and better understand what anti-Semitism is, what hatred is, and why it should never happen again. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Rick Chertoff, followed by Roz Rothstein.
My name is Rick Chertoff. I was born and have lived in Los Angeles my entire life, with an exception of 1 year abroad. I am a former executive director of Jewish Labor Committee. Morning, Paul. I find this proposed measure misleading, politically motivated by Israel's supporters to shut down debate, and I find it inherently undemocratic. Why? Well, first of all, the IHRA definition was created to suppress protest against Israel. It's embedded in there, and Donald Trump signed it for that very reason. Secondly, to the best of my knowledge, the recent anti-Semitic incidents on the banner drop, leafleting at farmers market did not even mention Israel, yet this measure conflates criticism of Israel with anti-Semitic in accepting the IHRA definition. They are two completely separate realities. Israel does not represent me, and I don't vote in their elections. Are you going to try and shut down my free speech to voice an opinion on Israeli war crimes that are printed daily in the newspapers of Israel? So on general comment, I would say that the freedom of speech should be meticulously maintained so that no definition that conflates different issues as hate speech can be used to suppress that speech, and it is being used that way because it was designed to be used that way. I would urge the members to take a closer look at the IHRA definition and see that conflation and how it can be misused in the future. I want there to be free debate about Israel the way there is in Israel. If I can say it in Haaretz 2 days ago, Gidon Levy, please read the article. I want to be able to say that here without repercussions from the City Council. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Roz Rothstein, followed by Sarah Polon.
Thank you. I'd like to speak general comments and also to item number 38. My name is Roz Rothstein, and for 21 years I've been the CEO of Stand With Us, which was founded to fight anti-Semitism and educate people about Israel. I am also the daughter of Holocaust survivors. I lost 80 of my relatives to hate that turned to violence. The Holocaust didn't begin with the gas chambers. It began with words. Anti-Semitism looks different today than 500 years ago or even 85 years ago before the Holocaust. The oldest hatred always targets Jews, but it also evolves and adapts. That's why today, nearly 60% of religious hate crimes in the U.S. are directed against Jews, according to the FBI, even though we represent only 2% of the U.S. population. Is painting a Nazi swastika anti-Semitism? Is denying the Holocaust anti-Semitic? Is blaming Jews for COVID or the inflation anti-Semitism? Now, what if you include the word Zionist? Just earlier this month, LA billboards were vandalized to say Zionist Jews control America. And what about calls to eliminate the world's only Jewish state and strip away the rights of Jews to self-determination in their ancestral home? Or when Jewish students share how they are being marginalized on campus simply because they care about Israel and believe that it has a right to exist. The vast majority of Jews understand that all of those examples are anti-Semitic, but unfortunately, many of our neighbors do not. That's why we need a clear definition. After this resolution passes, Kanye West will still be able to say that Jews control the media, and his followers will still be able to give a Heil Hitler and say that Kanye is right. What will change is that our city government will become more educated and able to fight back against dangerous anti-Semitic hate speech. Silence is complicity. Please do the right thing and adopt IHRA. Let's define it so we can defeat it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sarah Polon, followed by Andrew Grabner.
Good morning. I'd like to speak about item 38 and general comment. By the grace of God, May 17th, 2021, a date my husband will never forget. Walking to synagogue on the Jewish holiday of Shavuot, he encountered a caravan of cars with Palestinian flags. My husband was wearing his full holiday Hasidic clothes, which includes a large fur hat and long silk coat. Immediately upon noticing him, 2 cars from the group began chasing him. They yelled, "Allah Akbar," and gunned their engines, trying to run him over. The chilling video footage from nearby cameras captured the few moments that my husband feared were his last. Sorry. He told me that images of our children and I passed through his mind as he frantically ran. He wondered, would he ever see us again? They were out for blood. The well-known phrase, Allah Akbar, is yelled before a terrorist attack, God forbid. Knowing this, my husband said the Jewish prayer one says before death, the Shema. Thank God he was able to run to safety. Unfortunately, the attackers were never brought to justice, although their license plates taken off of the video footage are known. One can only wonder why. This story did not take place in the Middle East. It took place right here in the land of the free and the home of the brave. On the beautiful streets of Los Angeles, my husband was attacked solely on the identification of being a Jew. We need to educate our wonderful officers and our seekers, purveyors of justice, so that Jews will feel safe to walk on the streets of Los Angeles once again. By a miracle of God, my husband survived that night, and we are so grateful he made it home to our family. Anti-Semitism is a true and present danger in LA today. That is why I'm here to ask today, ask the LA City Council members to vote to adopt the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism so that no other person in LA should fear for their life for being who they are. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Andrew Graebner, followed by Ernest Weiss. Andrew Graebner? All right, then can we go next, please, to Ernest Weiss? Mr. Weiss? Good morning, sir.
My name is Ernest Weiss. I was born in Czechoslovakia. It was around the Carpathian Mountains that became Czechoslovakia in 1918 after the First World War. Under the Czechs, you didn't feel the anti-Semitism. It's not that it was not there, but the Czechs did not allow it. But in 1938, Hungary took it over. Then you felt the anti-Semitism. The kids, we were beaten up in school, on the street, because we were Jewish. And now Hungary was allies with Germany. And so the Germans, they forced the Hungarians to do more about the Jews. So first we were taken into ghettos.
Please add 1 more minute for general public comment.
What?
Go right ahead, sir. You have 1 more. No, it's okay. You have 1 more minute, sir.
One minute. What? You only have 1 more minute. Okay. Then from the ghettos we were taken to Auschwitz-Birkenau. There we got separated. My mother went separately, and it went so fast we didn't even have a chance to say goodbye. She was a very good mother and a very good woman. God bless her soul. And I was together with my father and another brother. I also had an oldest brother that he went in the Hungarian forced labor, and he died over there. And my father and my brother and I, we were taken. We were lined up in a forced labor group. That group was taken to Warsaw. After the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, the Nazi Germany bombarded the entire ghetto, bombed, and so everything was leveled. So they sent us over there to clean up the ghetto until the Russians got closer, so we had to evacuate. And we marched. It was a death march. We marched from Warsaw to the Polish-German border.
Thank you, sir.
A lot of people died.
Thank you for sharing that experience, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. Our next speaker is April Powers, who will be followed by Jason Reedy. Mr. Reedy, do you need a minute, or are you going to be ready? You ready? Okay. So April Powers, please, followed by Mr. Reedy.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me. I am speaking on general topics, and I'm going to be speaking on 38. Thank you for having me. I am April Powers. I'm a Black Jew who made international news last year because in my first time in my very long career as a DEI professional, I commented and posted about anti-Semitism when it was the highest it's ever been in my lifetime. And after that, I was told I wasn't black. I was in fact a white supremacist Talmudic Jew, C-U-N, you got that expletive. And I had death threats, attacks, the worst I've ever experienced in my life. The FBI got involved with some of this. I was in Newsweek 3 times, I think because for the first time people maybe realized that our skin color has never been determinative of our long-term safety, and maybe guess what? Jews really aren't a white religious community only. We are a people, we're an ethnicity, we're a culture that has been the oldest victims of the oldest hate. And because of that, we're here today to ask for that to be defined. Because words matter. I know this in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Words, the words you heard on those tapes several weeks ago, these words matter. How we define them matters. Making sure that a small percentage of Jews and a large percentage of extremists don't get a hold of what this definition means to many of us. My children need this. My father-in-law barely escaped Nazi Germany. He was shot at by Nazi youth almost every single day and lost his hearing and had the worst stutter I've ever heard in my life. I don't want that for my children. We are the canary in the coal mine. Anti-Semitism is the hate that fuels all the other ones, and when you allow these lies and conspiracy theories to flourish, democracy and civil rights get undermined, and none of those communities and places where this thrived have ever come back to their former glory. Please be an example, be a light to the rest of the world. We need you. Thank you so much for considering this. I yield my time.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Jason Reedy, who will be followed by Luke S.
Wanted to speak on item 38 as well.
All right, go right ahead, sir.
All right, so I want to make it clear that anti-Semitism is not equal to anti-Zionism. And so for those that are against the state of Israel, they shouldn't be called anti-Semitic. Israel is an apartheid state, first and foremost. I also want to talk about some of the speakers that came up here and spoke on Black Lives Matter and other organizations and hate crimes specifically. No more hate crimes are committed than the LAPD. LAPD commits hate crimes every single day against black, brown, and indigenous people. The same reason why we're here today when we wanted to shut down this meeting, which we did for some time, was no meetings, no resignations, right? And so I just want to say that first. I can move on to public comment. Now, as far as public comment, Paul Krikorian, there were people outside waiting to be let into these city council chambers. They were blocked out, just as they were on Friday when you adjusted the capacity in this room, saying that these first 4 rows weren't, nobody could sit in them. So I want to call out the fact that you guys aren't letting people into the building. That in itself is egregious. And I also want to say to y'all city council members, again, no meetings, no resignations. Many of you made the commitment when the scandal came out that you guys weren't going to go on with business as usual. But what are we doing here? Business as usual. 4118 zones in Heather Hutt's district. 4118 zones in Joe Buscano's district. $250,000 going to the LAPD. Again, what are we doing here? Are you not ready to address anti-blackness in the city? Are you not? And so shame on each and every single one of you. Shame continues to be on every single one of you. And y'all know where Gil Cedillo is. Y'all know where Kevin De Leon is. Those are your friends. Those are who you rock with. And so again, we'll be back on Wednesday. We'll be back on Friday. And we'll continue to be back here until y'all really join in. And
Thank you. Our next speaker is Luke S., who will be followed by Daniel Gold. Is there Luke S. in the room? All right, then we'll go next to Mr. Gold.
Hello. Here to speak on item 38 and public comment as well, please. My name is Daniel Gold. I serve as the Vice President of Israel Education at the Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles. And in that role, I've had the distinct pleasure of traveling on an educational and fact-finding mission to Israel and the Palestinian territories with many of you, and it's good to see some familiar faces, of course, and hopefully some of the new ones will join to learn and see this firsthand experience for themselves as well. I also just want to say I don't take for granted being welcomed into this chamber in front of all of you, and so I appreciate that time. The Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles supports and sends our appreciation to the LA City Council members Bob Blumenfield and Paul Koretz for introducing this resolution, and to all other members of the LA City Council for officially adopting the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. This action is a bold and important step to show the Jewish residents of Los Angeles and all surrounding areas that we are heard and that we are valued. This also signifies that the city of Los Angeles stands against all forms of hate. Finally, this action will help guide the city in its efforts to identify anti-Semitism and to equip policymakers to address an unfortunate rise in hate and discrimination. Our Federation's principles against anti-Semitism, which are on our website, similarly outlined the IHRA's definition of anti-Semitism as a guide to protect against anti-Jewish hate. Our principles against anti-Semitism help lay the foundation for our mission to use Jewish values to lead and convene our community, to assure the continuity of the Jewish people, support a secure and vibrant state of Israel, and care for Jews in need here and abroad, and mobilize on issues of concern to the local community, all with our local, national, and international partners. I want to thank you once again for taking this into consideration, and hopefully this passes, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker will be Maury A. First name Maury A.
Hi, good morning. Sorry,
Good morning.
my hearing's lousy. And President Krikorian, Saxophone Club, and you're a perfect example that good guys finish first. I mean, handsome, charismatic, bright, dedicated to the people.
Which items would you like to speak on?
But it's enough about me, though. Let me get back to you again. Sorry about that. So, Councilman Koretz, who not only is a great councilman, but the best father and husband I know in this city, of the many people I know. I wish everybody knew that. In any event, my parents are Holocaust survivors. My dad's wife and 3 sons were killed by the Nazis. And the rest of our family was killed. My mother also was a survivor. All of her family was killed. Her brother survived. And as a beautiful woman, she was raped and treated in the most despicable way that people can treat one another. And so little has been said about women, not only Jews, but gypsies, Lutherans, everybody that was killed in the Holocaust, and the way the women were mistreated. The Federation people have done a great job. I'm sure you'll do the right thing. The important thing is, number one, that other people that were mistreated during the Holocaust, not Jews, are also acknowledged. There's also language to protect them in the future. And most importantly, you guys do such a good job, and you're judged by the worst moment of your life. I've been judged that way, and it's beyond painful. I kind of sadly went through a Tom Girardi nightmare, but anyway, you guys do angelic work in the most difficult circumstances, so I couldn't be more grateful to Mr. Blumenfeld and all of you, because I know how much you do, because I've been involved in politics for 35 years. So I'm just so grateful, and especially to the police here who protect all of us and bring order out of chaos. And
thank you.
Paul, I love you.
Thank you very much, sir. Our next speaker is Salam Al-Mariati, followed by Serena Oberstein.
Thank you. I'd like to make a comment on item 38 and a general comment as well. First, I want to reiterate our solidarity with the Jewish community in terms of the anti-Semitism that we've witnessed lately and obviously have acknowledged throughout for centuries as a civilization. As a Muslim, it is my responsibility to actually protect Jewish communities according to the Quran. So we want to reiterate that point. The problem with this resolution is that it goes beyond dealing with anti-Semitism. And as is stated in the Jerusalem Declaration on Anti-Semitism, which is endorsed by several Jewish scholars, scholars of international studies and the Middle East, it states, the IHRA definition includes 11 examples of anti-Semitism, 7 of which focus on the state of Israel. And when I read the resolution in the City Council, it states that we are supposed to look at examples of the IHRA definition, and therefore most of them are going to deal with the state of Israel. And it will, unfortunately, impinge on our civil rights to protest, to redress grievance, to issue our opposition to the policies of a foreign state. And therefore, this leads me to my general comment. I can criticize the United States of America. I can criticize God. I can criticize religion. When I cannot criticize a foreign state, there's something wrong. And when we use emotional issues, and I remember what happened after 9/11. We passed the Patriot Act thinking that we're going to fight terrorism. It was an overreach. This is an overreach as well. We should fight anti-Semitism, but not conflate it with the legitimate criticism and opposition to the policies of a foreign government of the state of Israel. Finally, I just would like to say that I wish we would have been consulted, since we do serve on many bodies here in LA City. We know many of you. I wish we as a Muslim community, the pro-Palestinian community, would have been consulted first to see if we can come up with better language on this issue. So I hope you would oppose this current resolution and come up with better language. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Serena Oberstein, and after Ms. Oberstein, we'll be taking some of the callers. Ms. Oberstein.
Thank you so much. I'll be speaking on item 38, and hopefully I won't go into general comment, but I might. So first, I want to thank you, Council President Krikorian, and say how exciting it is to see you as Council President. And also thank Council Members Blumenfield and Kretz for your leadership and intentionality on this. I'm the Executive Director of Jewish World Watch, a human rights organization based here in Los Angeles. My family first fled the Spanish Inquisition and then the pogroms. Rooted in our own experiences of persecution, Jewish traditions and values, Jewish World Watch was founded in 2004 as a response to the genocide in Darfur. 18 years later, genocide and mass atrocity are still rampant, and we're obligated to ensure that never again isn't just a visceral phrase, but a call to action. We regularly see the way that hate speech can become hateful action. In our work, we also know that the best way to identify solutions for communal brokenness is through broad coalitions of diverse opinions. I'm here today to speak in support of the adoption of the LA City Council passing the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism for use as a reporting and educational tool by helping individuals and communities recognize the context in which anti-Semitic acts and harassment take place. The definition should not be used as a tool to chill free speech, To quote the Union of Reform Judaism, if the effect of the application of the IHRA definition limits free speech, it threatens to divide the broad coalition needed to combat anti-Semitism, and it threatens the democracy our country was founded on. Only through machlochet, sacred arguing, and respectful conversation can we find solutions that best meet the needs of our rich and diverse community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I recognize there are still a number of members that have signed up, people in the public have signed up who are here, but I do need to go next to take some of the folks who've called in as well. We've already taken well over an hour of public comment, and we won't be able to reach everybody, but let's go next to the folks who've called in and take our first caller.
Caller, please state the item you'd like to speak on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please state which items you'd like to speak on.
Thanks. I'll be speaking on 38 and public comment.
You'll have 1 minute for item 38 and 1 minute for general public comment. Please start with item 38.
Thank you. My name is IHRA Kaplan. I'm a lifelong Angelino. It's an honor to speak today. My grandparents were both Holocaust survivors, and dozens of my family members were killed in the Holocaust. My grandmother, Clara, was imprisoned in the Auschwitz concentration camp and survived, raising a large family in Los Angeles. I thank the council for standing with the Jewish people against anti-Semitism. However, I represent a large and growing segment of the Jewish community in opposition to the IHRA definition. The definition's examples of anti-Semitism are exploited to silence political debate in our community. This is a divisive and politically motivated appropriation of the legacy of the Holocaust. What you've heard today from my community is true, and we must adopt a definition, but there are alternatives, and I urge you instead to consider the Jerusalem Declaration of Anti-Semitism. Just as my love for America demands that I oppose those who seek to dismantle our democracy, my love for Judaism demands that I criticize the harmful policies of the Jewish state. It is because of my love for the Jewish people that I stand in opposition to Israeli policies that I feel contradict our values. The IHRA definition of anti-Semitism would equate my political views with a hate crime. Recent Pew Research polling reports that about half of American Jews also have views which are critical of the Israeli government, and I assure you that number is growing. Opposing this resolution would not make you an anti-Semite. It would align you with the half of the Jewish community who love Judaism and oppose the right-wing government in Israel. We are the truly progressive Jewish voices who demand safety, not only for our community, but for all people, including the Palestinian people, and I urge you to join us and consider the Jerusalem Declaration. I'm IHRA Kaplan, grandson of Auschwitz survivor Clara Kaplan and Holocaust survivor Albert Kaplan. May their memories be a blessing. Do not adopt IHRA. Check out the Jerusalem Declaration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Caller, please state the items you'd like to speak on.
Next speaker, please.
Yes, I'd like to speak on all available items and general public comment, please. And I want to evict the public and bring in the preachers and Tavis Smiley and talk about Ridley Thomas' paycheck. Is that okay?
Caller, could you please repeat which items you'd like to speak on?
I'd like to speak on all available items and general public comment, please.
You will have 3 minutes for agenda item comments and 1 minute of general public comment. Items 1 through 10 and 23 through 38 are open for comment.
1 through 10 and 23 through 38.
Yes, please
Thank you.
proceed.
Thank you. Item 26 and 27, that's very good. The only thing about it, it's kind of small for eviction, expanding eviction defense compared to what we spend on a lot of other stuff. And the only other thing bad about it is Dawson's name on it. It's a disgrace. Included in this motion should be his eviction of Dorset Village, eviction of the FEBA Center, Black Community Cultural Center, evict the unemployment office, Ralph's, the post office, the black community in general. Number 29, all these people, they're talking about their communities. Even Martinez was talking about their community. The black community has no representation. That's the problem, and we all pay for it. Number 29, Farrell, $110,000 for Emmy Awards for NBC. Really? Farrell, you're a criminal. How about giving the $110,000 to air homeless conditions on Skid Row? Or Farrell's Echo Park eviction of 200 homeless people, 17 of which only have confirmed housing to date. Talk about human rights abuses. Farrell, you need to be in jail, not running for office. Anybody that votes for this clown, again, is insane. Koretz and Farrell, number 31. Here we go. Farrell has an idea, public. Brown nosing under Martinez's nasty skirt. He wants to reactivate Council File 20-0608, anti-corruption motion. What happened to the damn thing in the first place? They all voted for it. This is like Rahman's ad hoc committee to limit corruption last Friday, all manned by the corrupt Los Angeles City Council members. What a great idea. It makes me feel so much better already. Number 39, Cedillo and De Leon housing bond, $43 million for 137 units, $314,000 a unit. Well, it sure beats the $700,000 that Farrell and Garcetti, Wesson, Martinez, and Dawson set up at $700,000 a piece for ground-up construction. Number 38, Koretz and Blumenfield and anti-Semitism. There should be no Jewish hate. There should be no black hate. Should be no any kind of hate. My problem is having Mike Fuhrer up there, the butcher who murdered a black man, master herbalist, brother Tim Morrow, via prosecution. Thank God you got 1% of support, Fuhrer. You're a butcher and a murderer.
Thank you, Speaker. You may now go to your general public comment.
Next caller, please.
No, Speaker,
Caller,
you have...
please state the items you'd like to speak on.
Good morning, general public comment, please. Good morning.
Member of the audience, please, you're disrupting the meeting. Speaker on the phone, hold for a minute.
Speaker, please make your comment.
Good morning, general public comment, please.
Speaker on the phone, please identify which items you'd like to speak on.
I just said public comment, please. Can you hear me? Good morning, can you hear me?
Sir, you're disrupting the meeting. Let us proceed, please.
Audience members, you are disrupting the meeting. The president, the chair has asked you to stop. Disruptor in the audience, the presiding officer has asked you to be quiet. You're disrupting the meeting.
Please, I'm asking you to respect the meeting, please. Caller, please continue your comment.
Are you speaking to me? It's hard to hear you. Hard to understand you.
Please, Please, sir, you're being disruptive.
Trying to run a meeting here.
Please permit the meeting.
Member of the gallery, you are disrupting the meeting.
We will go back to comment. We'll go back, sir. We'll go back to comment after receive the phone comments.
Caller on the phone, please let us know which items you'd like to speak on.
Good morning. General public comment, please.
You will have 1 minute of general public comment. Please proceed.
Alrighty. Kevin De Leon has resigned from his in-district home. You've relieved him of his committee duties. He's refused to participate in city council meetings. He is not at his district office. KDL is not serving his constituents. As a CD14 resident, I demand his resignation and return of our tax dollars. Why are his motions still on the agenda? You know, listening to the experiences of our community members today, a statement against anti-Semitism rings hollow when you allow KDL to remain after using anti-Semitism in city planning. Censure isn't enough. Listen to the community members in chambers who are representing those of us who cannot be in person. Stop enacting state violence on them and kicking them out of chambers. No resignations, no meetings.
Thank you, Speaker. Next caller.
Caller, please state the items you'd like to speak on.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ken, please identify which items you'd like to speak on today.
Yes, number 38 in general public comment.
You will have 1 minute for general public comment and 1 minute for item 38. Please start with item 38.
Yes, I'm listening to what's being said, and I know for a fact that we have many Black and Latinx brothers and sisters who are Jewish, who are currently out in the public wanting to make a comment, but also interfighting within themselves with what's going on here. In number 38, how do you identify or put language into your resolution that's going to cover the people of color that don't have or wear the traditional Jewish garb or the hats, the yarmulkes? I'm trying to be conscientious here and using my words because I'm not of Jewish faith, but I have cousins who are Jewish, some of them Latino, some of them Black. And sometimes the discussions that they get into get pretty heated because it's a religious conversation. I don't understand how the city is going to handle this topic when it's got such a hot topic of racial division and systematic racism on its hands. Okay, so that's my question in regards to 38. And also just to say that I don't think you guys should be voting on this because I think you don't have the experience or you're all guilty of violating the same stuff. So don't vote on this, please. And now for general public comment. People out in the audience, you guys know what's going on with this city, so please listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. I would like people out in the audience to listen and to call the IRS and ask for an investigation into Mitch O'Farrell's nonprofit, the Echo Park Improvement Association. The people there on that board, including Mitch O'Farrell's policy writer, Christine Peters, have profited from the pain they have caused on the people of color in the Echo Park community. I don't know what it's going to take. We do know this as a member of the Chicano community.
Next caller, please.
Caller, please state the items you'd like to speak on.
Yes, I'd like to speak on 38 in general public comment, please.
Thank you, caller. You will have 1 minute for item 38, followed by 1 minute of general public comment.
Okay. Yes, So yes, we do strongly condemn anti-Semitic hate, not just in the city of Los Angeles, but all across the United States. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you who is one of the groups that's fueling the anti-Semitic hate in this city and across the United States. And that group is the Black Lives Matters organization. Black Lives Matters has been behind in the fueling of the anti-Semitic hate in the city of Los Angeles and all across the United States. And I just hope people and organizations would stop funding their movement, because their movement fuels anti-Semitic hate. And I hope that people who are listening would take into consideration to not donate 1 penny to Black Lives Matter organization. I do support changes in the BLM movement, but I'm not going to give them 1 penny, and I encourage everybody not to donate 1 penny to their organization. Is it my turn for general public comment?
Your comment is running right now. Please continue.
Okay. And Mr. Krikorian, I would like to ask that you to make public comment available for everyone instead of limiting public comment for just 30 minutes. When you have a city of over 1 million people, you need to let everybody's voice be heard when they call in to make a public comment. It's just unfair, and it's like silencing those that want to speak cannot speak because you're limiting them from speaking by putting a limit on public comment by telephone.
Thank you,
And
Speaker.
I'd like to ask that.
Thank you, Speaker. Your time is up. Next caller, please.
Caller, please state the items you'd like to speak on.
Yes, am I being heard?
You are, Speaker. Please identify which items you'd like to speak on.
All items, including public comment.
You will have 3 minutes, followed by your general public comment. The items open for comment are 1 through 10 and 23 through 38. Please speak to your agenda items first.
I don't know who you are, but you seem like a very kind man. Let's start with the, this is a joke, the Office of Anti-Corruption and Transparency. Boy, we've seen this one before. Being in council since 1989, I've seen this one come around. The problem with any office is that what will happen is the council will gut this and make it powerless, and it's just another waste of time. You know where the anti-corruption comes from? Within your hearts, politicians, from within your mind, within your soul, that you know that you have to do the right thing, because each one of you has faced anti-corruption and a chance for corruption, and hopefully most of the time you've walked away. So if we're going to do something about corruption, let's start it within your heart, your souls, and your mind. Let's move on to item 38. You know, my brothers and sisters, my Jewish community, as a child, I watched and saw the horror of what happened to you, to your people, and I asked, how did this happen? Well, now I'm an adult, and I'm seeing it over again. I'm a Republican, and I'm not ashamed of it because I'm a Republican of Lincoln, not of Trump and the Nazis. But we've got to do something. Yes, we've got to express our voice. We've got to stand up against this, what hatred that's taking place. But at one point, we're going to have to call on each other and stand together. As a Native American, I will stand with you to defend your right and my right to be able to live in this country and not be harassed by people who think they're superior to us. So please, we have to be ready, and it will happen that the time will come when we have to do and defend what is ours, and that is our freedom. And so, again, we stand with you, and I'm sorry that all of this is happening again. Is it public comment?
You may proceed to your general public comment now if you'd like.
Thank you. Once again, I want to thank the young man that called in last Friday when the religious leaders were wrapping Mr. Ridley Thomas with the cloth of Jesus and religion and you know, trying to claim that what was happening to him shouldn't happen to him because of Jesus and their faith. No, it should be done based on law, and I agree that he should probably get his salary, but don't wrap Ridley Thomas with the cloth of Jesus. You know, he knows what he did. I'm a big fan of his, but you know, the truth will come out on the end, just like it did with Miss Martinez. And with that, that's why I believe that Rick Caruso is the best man for this city to become mayor. You know, I watched as Obama endorsed Miss Bass, and I said, okay, well, that's good. But you know what I have over Mr. Obama, and I love the man, is that I have a vote. I can cast my vote for Rick Caruso. And I think Ms. Bass is a wonderful person, but when it comes to turning this city around, the crisis that
Thank
we're
you,
in,
caller.
and what
Thank you, caller. Could we have the next speaker, please?
Caller, please state the items you'd like to speak on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, caller. Please identify which items
Hi.
you'd like to speak on.
Oh, first, thank you all for this day and not holding up the city's business because of the people who will not resign. God bless you all for this. I would like to comment on 31, 38, and then public comment, please.
31 and 38, you would have 2 minutes total. Please start with that, and then you'll have
Okay.
1 minute following for your general
Yes.
public comment.
Okay, I wanted to thank Councilmember Koritz for reactivating this. It was such great work that you did with Rue. We miss him so much. Yes, we need outside independent investigations to deal with the corruption and transparency issue, not the thing that came up last week where the city council oversees themselves. So I'm very grateful to you for bringing this back up. Thank you. 38, my family name will be history soon. My grandfather came here before what went on, and all of the people with our name in Holland and the family history got wiped out in Auschwitz. And I was raised Catholic, but that's part of my heritage, my father's side. And I thank you so much for adopting this. We have an evil person who unleashed this on our country. I'm from New York. We have no use for Trump. He has contributed to this. If he gets elected again, I'm really frightened. So God bless you for doing that. I also feel those candidates who have been supported by the DSA need to now disclose whether or not they signed the anti-Israel questionnaire, and that includes Mr. Rahman, who's on city council. And if they haven't, why would they align themselves with such an organization? A public comment. I wanted to thank Monica Rodriguez for having the courage of your conviction for voting to amend that transparency corruption thing last week. And sticking with your guns on that. The last thing we need is city council. Not that everyone there is corrupt, but the city council should be making every effort to allow outside input and to show that they are willing to give up some control and be transparent. So thank you so much, Monica Rodriguez. You stood up, and I felt that that was just really brilliant. Councilmember Lee, you expressed yourself so beautifully to your Plum Committee members opposing another cockamamie Mr. Rahman proposal to put by-right homeless shelters in our residential neighborhoods. You were so opposed to it, and yet you didn't vote against it. Please, like Councilmember Rodriguez, have the courage of your conviction. If you so strongly oppose something and you know it's wrong, please vote no. Thank you all so much for your work, and please all stay safe, and thank you for what you're doing. God bless.
Thank you, caller. Next caller, please.
Caller, please state the items you'd like to speak on.
Thank you. It's Eric Previn, and I'll give a comment on all available items as well as a general public comment.
Mr. Previn, items 1 through 10 and 23 through 38 are open for comment. You'll have 3 minutes total, followed by your 1 minute of general public comment.
Thank you. Well, my people have hit it out of the park today on the anti-Semitism thing. Thank you for all coming down. I think that the point made by a few sharp supporters of the effort against anti-Semitism, but made the point that we don't want to inadvertently limit the way people protest against the state of Israel or any other state, including Uzbekistan, if people want to be protesting in that space. There are a lot of different international incidents. I think we should go for the Jerusalem language if people are okay with that. I certainly know that nobody wants to get territorial in this space. This is an area where we want to cooperate and unite against anti-Semitism everywhere, including city council, where I was horrified when Mitch Englander and all the usual customers, Blumenfield, Pure, and of course the head rabbi Koretz, were standing there as Englander made crass, lightly anti-Semitic, the worst kind of anti-Semitism. Get somebody from the ADL in there to join me on that. The light anti-Semitism is the worst, because when you see an imbecile with a swastika on behaving like a lunatic, everybody understands what's going on. But when you see our very own indictee, federally indicted felon, Mitch Englander, making jokes about the Budget and Finance Committee being run by, it's not a good area, and it's very, very shameful. And remembrance, yes, remembrance of all the shame in this hall that was brought by Herb West. And I'd like all the great civil rights leaders to ask themselves when they glance back at their performance today, why, pray tell, do I appear the size of hashtag Blumenfield's nose? We need equitable framing in Los Angeles now more than ever. And I don't know what to say. Pure has done such a great job evading the basic ground rules in City Hall. Why not just be open, reasonable, and fair? I think Krikorian, who was lathered up by a man with a Chicago accent earlier to the degree that I've never seen, and that man should be awarded some kind of a special little prize for doing that. That man should be working for some kind of a bathtub company where he makes the foam and bubbles up with everybody. I mean, that was one of the most adorable, for a man who is busy sneaking around in my neighborhood like nobody's business and leaving all of the agita to Nithya Raman, who I will describe as the greatest of all time.
Okay, how about we get back to the agenda or go to general public comment?
Well, no, I'm ready to go to general because I think we've all had almost enough of this one. I mean, this is worse than the other guy.
Okay, 1 minute for general public comment.
One more minute. We can do it. We can do it together. Where is Faubel, first of all? Okay, this is an outrage. He needs to come back. I made a joke in my article that he should be provided a weekend in Santa Barbara at the expense of Knock.LA, and now suddenly he's gone. We've got this new guy. Not that you're doing a bad job, sir. I admire your tenacity. But listen, Nithya Raman is the greatest of all time, and she needs to step forward and realize that the hotel at Sportsman's Lodge, Krikorian has already left with Caro. They're on holiday. But the hotel is really the part that should have been designated as a cultural historical landmark. And I think that the people know that now. And the idea that we're going to have a 95-foot skyscraper full of luxury condos is really not what we want. So, let's try to protect that one aspect. We've already got the traffic accidents going nicely thanks to the former CD2 team. But what we want to do now is stop the egregious production of a giant, almost incarcerator of our traffic issues in Studio City. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't want it. And by the way, the testing currently is very, very bad. We go over and check.
Thank you, caller. Your time is up.
Thanks very much. We'll take one more caller, and then we'll go back to pick up just a few more speakers here in Chambers. This will be the final caller.
Caller, please state the items you'd like to speak on. Caller.
Item number 38 and public comment.
Thank you, caller. You will have 1 minute for item 38, followed by 1 minute of general public comment. Please start with item number 38.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Matthew Friedman. I am Senior Associate Regional Director of Anti-Defamation League Los Angeles. I am here today to urge the LA City Council to pass the resolution which will adopt the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance working definition of anti-Semitism. We thank Councilmember Koretz for his leadership on this issue. It's no secret that anti-Semitism and hate crimes against Jews are on the rise, both across the U.S. and right here in LA. In 2021, ADL tabulated 2,717 incidents throughout the U.S. and 182 total incidents in the LA region, including 14 incidents of assault. While our city reels from an increase in assaults, these heinous acts of harassment, vandalism, and propaganda all cause a ripple effect, with the perpetrators seeking to instill fear among not just the Jewish community, but all marginalized communities. This is something we cannot and will not tolerate.
Thank you, caller.
Recent revelations.
Please proceed to your general public comment.
Recent revelations exposed how even our local leaders are not immune from this hatred. Bigotry against any community should not be tolerated. As many of us have seen in the news, the conspiracy theories of Jewish power, control of the media, greed, and Jewish dual loyalty are alive and well. At this time of divisiveness and dangerous rhetoric, it's imperative that the LA City Council demonstrate their commitment to fighting anti-Semitism and all forms of hate. The IHRA definition is a legally non-binding definition. It's an important tool that governments can use to illustrate and help identify contemporary examples of anti-Semitic expressions that not everyone may realize play on long-standing and deeply harmful anti-Jewish tropes or other forms of animus towards the Jewish religion or Jewish people. So LA has the opportunity to lead by example and make monumental change. We thank the City Council members for supporting this resolution, and we hope they will take action to combat the alarming rise of anti-Semitism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go back now to the speakers who are here in chambers. We'll start with Richard Hirschhout, followed by Rich.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Richard Hirschhout. I have the privilege of serving as Los Angeles Director of American Jewish Committee. I'm pleased to speak on item 38 and offer general comment. For anyone who doubts the sacrosanct nature of free speech, it is alive and well, as we've seen this morning. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, and it certainly won't with adoption of the IHRA working definition. On behalf of AJC, I want to thank council members Koretz and Blumenfeld for bringing this important and timely measure forward. There is a contiguity to hate and an indivisibility to bigotry, and we've seen it emanate, sadly, from these hallowed halls and this corridor of City Council, and we've seen it spread through social media and as a poison and a toxin on which we have seen the doubling down and tripling down by such groups as the so-called Goyim Defense League unfurling its banner of hate and other messages that we've seen around the country. There is a connective thread to this hate, and there is no better time, now that we see anti-Semitism front and center, uncovered, a whole of society problem, no better time to enact a measure that becomes a framework and puts the imprimatur of this council in this city front and center to say to our Jewish brothers and sisters, we hear you, we feel your pain, and we stand shoulder to shoulder to bring the apparatus of this government, of this city, to bear to fight this scourge. That would be the highest symbol of allyship, because as we've heard from other speakers, anti-Semitism is that proverbial canary in the coal mine. It is a gateway hate, and we've seen far too much hate and bigotry directed against so many of our
Thank Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Rich, followed by Tanaz Golshan. Richie, you're up.
Okay. I'll start off with item 30. This is Joe Buscaino. Something about special recognition of Italian American Heritage Month. I want to say, as an Italian American, we don't fuck with you, Joe. You're like Mussolini. And I'm more of the anti-fascist brand that hung Mussolini like fascists like yourself, Joe. That's your Italian heritage. You're a fucking fascist, Joe. You're like fucking Mussolini. Moving on. Speaking of fascism, I'm an anti-fascist, and I am against anti-Semitism. But anti-Semitism should not be conflated with anti-Zionism. You know, from what we heard earlier, I believe there was a Palestinian man that said that, you know, he wished that he was consulted on that. I would like to uplift that. Going on to general public comment, refuse to believe that this is suddenly a reformed council. This is suddenly not an anti-black, not a racist council, right? But Joe Buscaino, the fascist himself, threatened to call DCFS on Jason Reedy and his newborn son. And you all motherfuckers sat there. That all happened. None of you have fucking denounced it. Paul Koretz has attacked a 21-year-old black activist, climate activist from South LA. Y'all haven't fucking denounced it. He is a 20-year-old kid, and you're trying to frame him as a scary black man? That's fucked up, dude. And there's really there's some issues with you that you think a 70-year-old man like yourself should attack a 20-year-old climate activist from South LA, so a kid that should be celebrated, and you decide to make him out to be a scary black man. That's how black kids get shot by the fucking cops, Paul. So you're complicit with your anti-blackness and your racism, and fuck every single one of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Your time has expired. Please, your time has expired. Please have a seat. Our next speaker is Tanaz Golshan, who will be followed by James Finney Conlon. Go ahead.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me and for taking the time. My name is Tanaz Golshan. I am a city employee, and I wasn't sure if I should make a comment, but I thought I love the city. I'm proud to be a city employee, and I'm proud to be an Iranian Jew. And I wanted to make sure to speak up because a lot of people don't get that opportunity. And so I ask that you please adopt this resolution. I'm here in support of the resolution. I think you've heard from so many people why. This is an opportunity. This is the time for you guys to stand in solidarity with the Jewish people. It's enough. We keep saying never again, never forget. This is the time to put that into action. When I go out in the streets, when I travel, wherever I go, I live in fear. And there are Jews in Los Angeles right now living in fear for being Jewish. It hasn't stopped. It's 2022, and words matter, and education matters. So I ask that you please adopt the resolution, and I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is James Finney Conlon still here? Okay, come on up, and then Mr. Finney Conlon will be followed by Sheila Bates, and then that will conclude public comment for today.
Hi, my name is James Finney Conlon. I'd like to speak on item 38 and general public comment.
Thank you.
Right
You'll
ahead.
have 1 minute per item.
I would say good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is James, and I am a American Jew. And I say that with emphasis and not a Jewish American because I realized over the course of my short life that although I live in America, it's a part of my home, but I will never truly feel safe. I will always feel like I need to look over my shoulder as the result of intergenerational trauma. Many of you, Jewish or not, may know the feeling of not being safe. It could be a feeling of that pit in your stomach. It could be the feeling of anxiety. It could be that feeling of looking over your shoulder and wondering, is today my unlucky day? It can happen anywhere, and it can happen to anyone, and frankly, it's terrifying. And I welcome you to think about how we use our words and how other people's hate and delegitimization of a foreign state can cause action of violence and bigotry against a Jewish people. I grew up not caring about Israel at all, but when I realized that the Jewish people need a state, and whether or not I am critical of Israel, which I am, I do believe we have a right to exist. And I welcome you to vote yes on this resolution for item 38. And I also want to say to every single staffer in this room, if you hear something that you are not proud of representing your people of LA, use your phone and record it, because truth is power. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next and final speaker will be Sheila Bates. And for, I apologize. I know that we didn't get to everybody either here or on the phone, but we've taken almost 2 hours of public comment. So Ms. Bates will be our final speaker. You've had your time to speak. Please let Ms. Bates speak. Richie, you're disrupting the meeting. Sit down and be silent throughout the rest of the meeting.
I have a quick question, though. Can she also speak? She's waiting to speak as well.
No, we've taken 2 hours of public comment. We need to move forward with the meeting.
But isn't this what democracy is?
Your time is beginning.
So first, I want to speak on public comment, item 38 and item 30. So
You will have 2 minutes for your agenda items plus 1 minute.
I'm asking to speak on 3 items, though.
You have 1 minute per agenda item.
And I said 3 items. Public comment, 30 and 38.
You'll have 2 minutes for your 2 agenda items, followed by 1 minute of general public
Okay,
comment.
thank you.
Please start with your agenda items.
So let me start by saying something that I shouldn't even have to say. Anti-Semitism is absolutely wrong. As someone with Jewish godparents, family members, and friends, and a human who has compassion and knows history, this is obvious and simple. But that does not mean that there aren't real valid concerns about the message sent in item 38 based on the language to the Palestinian community. Let's be clear. Being pro-Palestine does not mean that you are anti-Semitic. Also, I want to point out the solidarity that has always existed between the Black community and the Jewish community. There has always been shared struggle and a shared enemy. That enemy is white supremacy. White supremacists are often anti-Black, anti-Semitic, and homophobic. What is ironic about the likes of you all discussing this topic and voting on this in this moment, when many members of this city council have shared white supremacist sentiments through your votes with 4118, an increase in the LAPD budget, and also evident by the fact that several city council members were saying what you thought would never be heard in a leaked audio. I would like to connect this to a previous speaker who said accurately and reminded you that the Holocaust didn't start with gas chambers. It started with words, much like the words that Kevin De Leon and Gil Cedillo said. And yet many of you are silencing us and speaking out against us and keeping us all out. You're kicking us out of city council chambers with more violence from the LAPD. All from the same people who say that you're against the same thing that we're against and made these useless statements. And yet every single one of you are sitting in this meeting when the community has made it clear that our demand is no resignations, no meetings. That is complicity. That is violence. You should break quorum right now. And you think it's funny. The hate crime that is unaddressed in the city and the city chambers is the LAPD pushing people out today, arresting people, charging people. That is violence. That is a hate crime. As they locked
Speaker,
us out
you may now
last
have
week,
your 1 minute of general public comment.
then you all have the infinite wisdom to also simultaneously put up a motion about Italian Heritage Month, which is often a thinly veiled attempt to sanitize the celebration of a colonizer, Christopher Columbus, and on the heels of an anti-indigenous comments that were made by soon-to-be former, I'm speaking that into existence, soon-to-be former city council members. It's all incredibly tone-deaf, but not fucking surprising. Every single one of you sitting up here should be ashamed. The fact, yes, I'm talking to you, Nithya. Yes, I'm speaking to you, O'Farrell. I'm speaking to you, Cortez. I'm speaking to you, Rodriguez. I'm speaking to you, Kokorian. Speaking to you, Bloomfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Mark. I'm speaking to all of you. Marquise, Hutt, I'm speaking to all of you. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You should break quorum. Silence is violence. It is no business as usual right now. This is a moment of crisis. History will remember what the fuck you did this day and every single day after that audio leaked. and is going to remember all of you.
Thank you, Speaker. Your time is up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So that will conclude public comment for today. Public comment is closed for all items in general. Public comment is now closed. Madam Clerk, what items are now before us that are available for a vote?
Council may vote on items 1 through 10, 12, 23 through 30, 32 through 37, sir.
All right, and on those matters which are now before us, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
11 ayes.
Thank you. And members, thank you for your patience. Given the gravity of the issues that we've talked about today, I appreciate your patience in taking this much public comment, about almost 2 hours of public comment. So, Madam Clerk, we can move on to the items that the... All right. All of you who are screaming are disrupting the meeting. I'm going to ask you to sit down and be silent or else leave the meeting. Okay, as you are neither sitting down nor being silent, I'm going to order you to be excluded from the meeting. All of you who are yelling are excluded from this meeting. Okay, you're continuing to disrupt the meeting, so subject to Council Rule 7, I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting so we can continue our work. This is an actual disruption, and the City Council meeting cannot proceed so long as the disruption is continuing. So you'll need to leave the meeting now. And pursuant to Council Rule 7, each of you is excluded from this meeting. All right, let's move on next. We'll take item 12, by the way, will be sent forthwith. And we'll go ahead and move on to the items that members called special. Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, item 31 is available to be voted on, sir.
I'm sorry, because of the ongoing disruption that's still happening in this meeting, I wasn't able to hear you, Madam Clerk. Could you please repeat that? Madam Clerk, go ahead and repeat what item was called special.
There are 2 items called special. One is 31 and the other is 38.
All right. Mr. Koretz.
Yes, is this on item 31?
Whichever you'd like to take up first.
All right, let's take up item 31 first. And thank you, Mr. President, for hearing this. Before us is a motion seeking to reactivate another motion that got bottled up and left idle for too long. The motion was introduced by former council member David Rue and seconded by me back in May of 2020. And it's looking to open a discussion on the establishment of an Office of Accountability and Transparency in the City of Los Angeles, not unlike other offices in places like Chicago and Philadelphia. Needless to say, the discussion is long overdue, and I hope it'll be given its due attention along with the many other government reform-related motions that have been put forward more recently. The motion was introduced in the wake of a series of campaign finance and government ethics scandals, but today, following the recently leaked audio of 3 of our colleagues discussing how to chop up council districts to solidify power for one ethnic group at the expense of another, and how to keep another colleague on the fence politically because she wasn't regarded as a political ally, makes this discussion and this work not only right but necessary. And this, like other efforts to establish an independent redistricting commission and to expand the size of the city council, is intended to enhance accountability of the elected officials in this building. Expanded enforcement powers against elected officials and candidates who violate the public trust is critical, and to make this body more effective in responding to the needs of Angelenos. These are the goals and the values which we should be operating under, and while there's much, much more work to be done to regain the confidence of Angelenos, this motion and this discussion, without any question, is at least a piece of that puzzle. So I thank you for hearing this item, and I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kretz. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the votes.
11 ayes.
Thank you. That'll bring us next to item 38. Mr. Blumenfield.
Okay, thank you. I rise today to ask for your support on this resolution. I'd like to especially thank my colleague, Mr. Koretz, for authoring it, Council President Krikorian for swiftly bringing this to the Council at a time when people need a space to feel safe. And I especially want to thank the many hundreds of people who wrote in to support it, along with those who came downtown today to speak out against it and who've called in. This resolution has the city adopting the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, which is the most widely accepted definition around the world because it reflects the many forms of hate that Jewish people experience every day. This definition includes overwhelming support from major Jewish organizations throughout Los Angeles and beyond. 37 member UN countries have adopted this definition. It is not a legally binding definition, but in this time of healing, we ask that our city departments learn and incorporate it into their trainings. It's particularly important now because anti-Semitic incidents are on the rise in California, as many folks have spoken to. We all saw the latest hateful display over the 405, which several speakers talked about. Now, why do we need a definition of anti-Semitism, albeit a definition that's not legally binding in any way? Because anti-Semitism mutates, and it often occurs in ways that are hard for leaders and institutions to identify. Anti-Jewish racism once focused solely on the religion of Jews, vilifying them for not accepting Christianity or for other aspects of their religious beliefs and traditions that made them different. Then it focused on the notion of race, demonizing Jews for being inferior to pure white Aryans. And depending on the source of hatred, it is focused on economic issues, accusing Jews of being capitalist or communists. It can connect to nationalism, first faulting Jews for being stateless and later discriminating against Jews for having their own state. There is no monopoly on anti-Semitism. It comes from the far right, the far left, Islamic extremist groups, even from our former council president. Sadly, it is one of the oldest and most enduring forms of hatred, and it is all around us. Because it comes in so many forms, it's important to have a clear understanding of what it is and call it out when people are engaging in it. Now, some people have expressed concerns that using this type of definition will somehow stifle free speech for people or reduce their ability to call out Israel for bad policies or criticize Israel. I heard a few speakers talk about it, saying that it's conflating anti-Semitism with being anti-Israel. I want to make it clear. Nothing in this resolution should be construed as or intends to limit anyone's right to freedom or expression of political debate, and that criticizing Israel or Israeli policies is in no way, in and of itself, anti-Semitic. I have criticized Israeli policies. Everyone should feel free to criticize Israel. The definition will not change that. However, applying double standards of Israel because it is a Jewish state can certainly be anti-Semitic. Holding Israel to a higher standard on issues because it's a close ally of the U.S. is one thing, and that would not be in and of itself anti-Semitic. Whereas singling out Israel because Israel is a Jewish state and applying tropes and stereotypes that have been used against the Jewish people to the Jewish state would certainly be anti-Semitic. To me, this distinction is clear. Regardless, the actual definition that we are adopting today does not get into these kind of details. But I thought I should address it because I know it is a very sensitive issue for many people and invariably becomes part of the discussion. Today, we are adopting a definition that is not legally binding, but that is extremely useful in recognizing and calling out anti-Semitism when it rears its ugly head, inevitably. Today, we're sending a message to the Jewish community that anti-Semitism is one of the forms of hatred that we will not tolerate. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President, for scheduling this item today. And I thank Mr. Blumenfield for seconding this resolution and for always partnering with me on efforts to protect our city's Jewish community. And I also want to thank the advocacy groups, ICANN, Stand With Us, the Jewish Federation, ADL, and many, many others, both Jewish and non-Jewish alike, who have stood up to speak in solidarity and against hate. Colleagues, in April 2022, the Anti-Defamation League's anti-Semitic incident audit noted a startling rise in anti-Semitic hate incidents and crimes in Los Angeles. Anti-Semitic incidents rose 217% from 2017 to 2021, and California and the U.S. reached all-time highs. But as was noted, the color of anti-Semitism has changed. It's not always overt, and it certainly doesn't look like the anti-Semitism that my father experienced in Nazi Germany or after he fled the Nazis in late 1939 and came to Los Angeles. My parents told me of signs in store windows that said, "No dogs or Jews allowed." But I didn't see anti-Semitism to any significant degree growing up in Los Angeles. I have seen it in recent years, though, both here and around the country and around the world. On July 1st, 2021 in Boston, Rabbi Shlomo Nijinsky was stabbed 8 times outside a Jewish school by an individual with a documented history of anti-Semitism. In our very own city, in my district, in my neighborhood, in May of 2021, a group waving the Palestinian flag confronted diners in a restaurant. They asked who was Jewish before viciously assaulting a Jewish man and the man who came to his defense who was not Jewish, who I had the privilege of finally meeting today when he came to speak. And recently, of course, the most visible, the anti-Semitic banners draped over the 405 with individuals giving Nazi salutes. That same weekend, residents of Beverly Hills, Westwood, Bel Air, Mid-City, and other neighborhoods woke to anti-Semitic flyers stuffed in envelopes with sand and placed on their lawns. But there are also many more veiled examples of anti-Semitism. Just one at Tufts University on February 2021, Max Price, a member of the Tufts Community Student Union Judiciary, was threatened with impeachment because he identified with his Jewish heritage and connection to Israel. There are examples that could go on and on and on, in person and online, from coast to coast and across the world. There are unprovoked attacks on Jews and Jewish institutions. And it certainly wonders what my father must have been speaking in the 1920s growing up in Germany as anti-Semitism just began to raise its ugly head. And I wonder how much different it was than what we're seeing today. And that's why we're here today. As the noted historian Raul Hilberg noted, the Nazis didn't call themselves anti-Semites. And those who engage in modern forms of anti-Semitism are no different. Perpetrators target Jews for supporting Israel's existence and yet claim that their intent was anti-Israel, not anti-Jewish. And organizations that oppose Israel's existence have pushed their own definition of anti-Semitism. Our society generally accepts that each community gets to define its own definitions of anti-Semitism. And our society generally accepts that each community gets to define its own oppression. One gender doesn't get to tell the other what is sexist. And as the city of Los Angeles and the world overheard on the notorious tapes that were leaked a few weeks ago, the white or Latino communities, or anyone else for that matter, don't get to tell the black community what racism is to them and what should be regarded as offensive or threatening. One group really doesn't have the authority to determine what behaviors are racist towards another group. In my belief, Jews have the right to define and identify how they experience anti-Semitism, especially in environments where anti-Semitic incidents are often dismissed. So colleagues, what is before you is a resolution seeking to adopt the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, which reads as follows. Anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, towards Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. It also requests that city departments, staff, elected and appointed officials, and contract agencies familiarize themselves with the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, associated reference materials, examples and articles that incorporate their use where appropriate. Now this is a pretty broadly consensus of a definition. Whoops. It also has been adopted by the U.S. State Department website, which has displayed it since 2010. It's been used by the Departments of Education, Justice, and State. It's been adopted by governments of over 30 countries. It's been signed onto by 35 governments that are members of the IHRA. It's been used by the Justice Ministries of Austria and Germany. It's been adopted by the European Union. It's been adopted by the Global Imams Council, and it's been supported by both Republican and Democratic presidential administrations. It's a guiding tool for how to apply existing rules and laws where anti-Semitism may be involved. And in a world where anti-Semitism is on a dramatic rise, where violence against Jews is both underreported and under-prosecuted, and also terribly misunderstood, this will provide clarification to city departments, staff, elected officials, and contractors on how to identify anti-Semitism. This definition is the international consensus of anti-Semitism, developed by those who appreciate and understand the phenomenon from experience. And there's nothing else that provides this type of clarity. It will not diminish free speech. It will not diminish criticism of Israel. And just as Mr. Blumenfield has noted, many of us have been critical of Israel. This would not stop us from criticizing them when we feel it's appropriate. So I ask you for your consideration, and it would mean a lot to me if you were able to find it in all of your hearts to give this an aye vote.
Thank you very much. Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Koretz and Mr. Blumenfield, for your leadership on this important issue. I also want to thank and acknowledge all the Angelenos who have advocated for this particular item. Thanks to those of you who have joined us in person today and stuck this out all day long. Anti-Semitism is a poison that has existed for millennia. Throughout every age, including this one, people have expressed hatred toward Jews in rhetorical and physical forms, including acts of violence that we must never forget. The rise in anti-Semitism locally and globally is more than just alarming. The events of the past week occurred just as we observed the 4-year anniversary of the devastating massacre at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, the deadliest act of anti-Semitism in our nation's history. I know that the Jewish community here in Los Angeles, across the country and across the globe, is strong and resilient. As a member of the Native American and LGBTQ community myself, I stand with you in solidarity today and always. With today's vote, we affirm not only that there is no place for anti-Semitism in Los Angeles, but this city government will be active in combating it in whatever form it takes. So colleagues, let's be strong and loud and relentless in the fight against anti-Semitism, hate, and discrimination in all of its forms. I join my colleagues, Mr. Koretz and Mr. Blumenfield, in asking for an aye vote for this resolution. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, members. We've certainly heard a great deal of input on this. Thank you for your comments, members. as Mr. Kretz and Mr. Blumenfield have both pointed out, what's before us is language of a definition that is that I haven't heard anyone object to yet. It's language that focuses on hatred directed towards Jews and Jewish institutions in the community. And at a time when the city is still reeling from divisions and working so hard to try to come back together and support one another and to heal those divisions, I think it's particularly appropriate that we take this step forward today. I know there has been some suggestion that some of the examples that are listed in the IHRA materials and websites and so forth are of concern to some people, but as Mr. Blumenfield pointed out, that is not what's before us today. What's before us today is the definition that's stated in the resolution. And if departments and contractors and the others, appointed officials and contract agencies familiarize themselves with the entirety of the IHR definitions and examples, they will be able to incorporate those where appropriate or choose not to where appropriate. So it's a pretty straightforward matter that's before us today, members, and that is the definition as it's contained in the resolution. So if there's no other members wishing to speak, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
11 ayes.
Thank you very much, members. Madam Clerk, what else is before us?
Council has motions for posting and referral. Motions will be posted on the city clerk's website shortly after the meeting for the public's viewing. To subscribe to receive copies of today's council motions to your email, please visit clerk.lacity.org.
Posted and referred.
The desk is clear, sir.
Members, are there any announcements? On the left? On the right? I see none. Are there any motions to adjourn? On the left? I see none. On the right? I see none. Thank you very much, members. With that, this meeting is adjourned.